Mr. Right here, and thank you very much to the person who sent in this grade 9 question on probability. If you want me to tackle a question, then email it in. My email address is in the description of this film. Right, let's have a look at this. We've got a bowl that contains n pieces of fruit. Of these, 4 are oranges and the rest are apples. Right, so we've got n pieces of fruit, oranges, 4, apples, n minus 4. 2 pieces of fruit are going to be taken at random from the bowl. Okay, the probability that the bowl will then contain n minus 6 apples is a third. Well, wait a minute, it starts with n minus 4 apples, right? So if you're going to take 2 pieces of fruit and then be left with 2 fewer apples with n minus 6 apples, both of those pieces of fruit must have been apples. So what we're really talking about here is that the probability of taking 2 apples is a third, or the probability of taking an apple followed by an apple is a third. That's really what this sentence is telling you. So to work out the value of n, we're going to come up with an expression in terms of n for the probability of taking an apple followed by an apple. And we know that that will equal 1/3. So what is the probability of taking an apple followed by an apple? Whatever it is, we know it equals a third. Well, when you approach the basket of fruit, there are how many apples in there? N minus 4, out of how many apples in total? N. So the probability that the first piece of fruit you take is an apple is n minus 4 over n. So you take that, let's assume it's an apple, and you put it to one side. Now, what about the probability of the second piece of fruit being an apple? Well, now, how many pieces of fruit are there in the bowl? There were n, so now there's 1 fewer piece of fruit in the bowl. So there are n minus 1 pieces of fruit in the bowl. And how many of those are apples? Well, you used to have n minus 4 apples, but you've taken an apple out. So now you have only n minus 5 apples in the bowl. So probability of the first piece of fruit being an apple, probability of the second piece of fruit being an apple. So there on the left is an expression for the probability of getting an apple and then an apple. And we know that that equals 1/3. So here's an equation that we can solve to find n. Right? Now all we've got to do is not mess up the algebra. On the left-hand side, we've got fraction times fraction. So I'm going to do the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. And that equals a third. Now, it rather depends how you've learned to tackle equations like this. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3, which is going to leave me with 3 lots of n minus 4 times n minus 5 on the top on the left and 1 on the right. But I'm also going to multiply both sides by n lots of n minus 1. So my divided by n minus 1 will disappear from the left, and on the right I'll simply multiply by n lots of n minus 1. I don't know quite why I put that additional set of brackets in. So on the left I've got 3 lots of n minus 4 times n minus 5, n squared minus 4n minus 5n plus 20 equals n squared minus n. Multiply out this bracket, 3n squared minus 12n minus 15n. I could have just combined those n's, couldn't I? Plus 60 equals n squared minus n. Tidy up the left, 3n squared minus 27n plus 60 equals n squared minus n. Aha, quadratic equation, set it equal to 0. Let's subtract an n squared from both sides. And let's add an n to both sides. Careful, now you've got minus 26n because you're adding an n to minus 27n. Plus 60 equals 0. So I have to solve this. Well, I need to factorise the left, don't I? So I start by pulling out a 2. 2 lots of n squared minus 13n plus 30 equals 0. Now, can I factorise that, or shall I resort to the formula? I'm going to factorise it. Okay, but you could use the formula. Both of my signs are negative because I multiply to a plus, but add to a minus 13. And it's going to be minus 10, and minus 3. So my two solutions to this equation are n equals 10 or 3. Now let's go back to the question. It says, work out the value, singular, of n. So the implication is that there should only be one answer. But I've got two answers to my equation. So what's going on? Well, the answer is that one of my answers is simply not valid. N cannot be 3. Why can't n be 3? Because there can't be just 3 pieces of fruit in the bowl at the start, because there are 4 oranges. So my only solution is that n equals 10. And the question was work out the value of n, and I have done that. So that is the solution to that grade 9 probability question. If you want to practice more probability, you'll find this probability playlist useful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next film.